Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a good afternoon. It's Friday, day before black powder season, so I told Samantha I would go get the cameras up, and I had a request. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. Several people's been mentioning about doing some videos about our farm. And so I'm going to do a couple different things today. I'm going to do a video about the farm itself. I'll show you around a little bit with that. And then I'll do a video showing you the deer stands, how I set up my deer stands. I've had a lot of questions and conversations here recently about that. So we're going to do a video about that. Austin, my son, is with me. Austin, say hey.
Say hey.
For those of you who don't know, Austin is autistic and developmentally delayed, and he's, I don't know, mentally maybe 6 or 7. But he's my boy, and he's going to go with me today. We're going to have a good time, ain't we? Austin, what are we going to ride? What are we going to ride? We going to ride Big Red?
You want Big Red?
Yes,
Yeah,
we're going to ride Big Red. Okay, that's what he calls a side-by-side.
Okay.
So y'all come on with us. Now this video is probably going to cut in and cut out because I'm going to stop it and play it and all of that. I ain't going to do the ride all the way down there, and I don't have the fancy drone and all that stuff. I've got a drone that we use for work. But all right, Austin, let's go, buddy. We're going to ride. You ready? All right. I've got to go down here and check on the hay for the cows on my way, so we'll show you the cows here in just a minute.
I saw it.
Yeah, it's all right. We got it, buddy. All right. There's my cows. See if I can get that on them. They're getting pretty good size. They're probably close to 1,000 pounds, something like that. But we're gonna ride back here to the back, and I've got to check on my trail cameras. Here we go, buddy.
Even though, bud.
All right. There we go. Austin, I just grabbed them chairs. All right, so most of y'all have probably seen this on some other Country Corner episodes. So this is the back of my property, the back 18 acre section. And this right here, I think, is about a 5-acre section. I'm gonna grab these chairs because I'm gonna sit down when I'm talking to y'all here in a minute. You probably recognize my little shelter right there. I've done some country corner videos there back there in the summer. All right, Austin. Now, let me flip it. All right. So I've got a stand right there. I've also got one right down here, right at the bottom. And then I've got one over here in the woods. And then we passed one a while ago. So I want to show y'all how I set these stands up. So Russell Bowman, who passed away a few months ago, good friend of mine, he showed me years ago the benefit of setting your stands up to where you can get in and out of the stand and the deer never know you're there. And so I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a minute. So, boy, the mountains look pretty today. I don't know. I'll flip this back around here in a minute. But anyway, we're going to go, I'm going to pull down to this stand. I'm going to show you the stand. And then I'll pull to the bottom of the hill and explain what we got. So let's go do that. You having fun, Austin? You having fun?
You having fun? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here we go, buddy. This thing picks up my volume, but as you can see, the food plot we're coming up on, you can see the stand now, but you can't see the food plot. And we're going to go down there here in the bottom in a minute, and I'll show you exactly what this looks like. This is one of my stands, and buddy, it is wind done a number on it. Austin, you stay right there, I'll be right back. All right, so this thing pops up from the bottom. This is gonna be fun. Got it. Okay. All right. So, ouch. Okay. Now. So, I don't know if you can see that or not. You can see the food plot right there. And then here's the stand. And of course, I would walk down that road. If you notice, I've got all this brush and all this mess at the bottom so that you can't even see the food plot down there. So this is the stand. Beautiful stand. Fun stand to hunt out of. And so let's go down here at the bottom and I'll show you from a deer's eye perspective. If you hunt when the wind is right, you take away, I think, about 75%. Deer don't necessarily go by noise if you're walking in because they're used to hearing squirrels and everything else running around the woods. So if you can just stay out of their line of sight, but the biggest one's the wind. You can stay out of their wind, you're going to be seeing a lot of deer. And it is not uncommon for me to hunt and see, it's not uncommon for me to hunt and see 10, 12 deer at a time. I think the most I've seen at one time on this property is 16. I had 16 in the field at one time. And that's pretty good for being out in the country in a high hunted area. So this is one of my food plots. You see the stand right there, and I don't know if you can tell it, but all that junk that's right there on the bottom, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. All that stuff I've let just grow up. So I can walk that road up top coming in. I can get in the stand because there's literally nothing. The deer can't see me. I mean, let me zoom this out, see how far I am away. So all of my food plots are 85 yards plus from the stand. So you get down in a deer's perspective down here, and you can't see the road. You would not be able to see me walk in. You would not be able to see me get in the stand. There's so much brush at the bottom. So literally I can walk in. If I've got the wind right, the deer's not going to hear me and it's not going to see me. And I have proven this over and over, and I have got in and out of the stand with deer in the field already. So that is a good way of setting up your deer stands. And I'm gonna go up here. This is why we came out here today. I'm gonna go up here. Man, these tracks, look at all the tracks in this field. It is unreal. I mean, just completely, I mean, it looks like mole's been going through the field. There's literally so many tracks. So Samantha ought to have good luck tomorrow. And just so y'all know, most all of this is done for my daughter. You know, ever since my daughter started hunting with me, I hadn't hunted in a while. And let's see, I gotta get this card out. I'll close that back up. All right, I got my card. So we're gonna go down here to the next stand. So this is a 2-for-1 video, so people wanted to see a little bit more of the farm. And I've had people ask me how I set my stands up, because I've told them I've got in and out of the stand and had 4, 6, 8 deer in the field, and they never knew I was there. And I got out, walked on to the house, deer never knew I was in the world. Alright, let's go on down. This is my bottom down here. All of this grass I've let grow up on purpose. The deer absolutely love it. I've seen a quail last year, and I've seen one this year, so that's pretty good. And I've had the Forestry Service actually burn this a couple times. So coming up on the other food plot, and I'll explain why I've got all this grass growing up in between them here in a minute. Boy, that one looks pretty. Man, that stuff come up good. Man, these bottom food plots, I don't know if y'all can see that. These bottom food plots, you can see the stand. I don't know if y'all can see that. You can barely see the stand right there. I'm gonna grab this cord. Right. Austin, put that brake on, buddy. Check this stand. That's a creek bottom right there. And let's see. All right, got that one. It's supposed to rain a little bit tonight, I think, which is good because it's been a full moon this week. And that rain may inhibit the deer from moving, I'm hoping, and then they'll be moving heavy in the morning. I know they was moving this morning. I walked 3 miles this morning down my road, and deer was running everywhere, which they're chasing pretty good right now. So again, if you look at this stand, you can't see anything on the bottom of that stand. All you can see is the sand sticking out on the top. So I'm gonna go get this other card out of this camera, and then I'll bring you back and I'll show you the way I've got that stand set up. but it has almost the most activity. So this was a clover plot that I planted 2 years ago, and every year it comes back, and I mean it gets plumb thick. And as you can see, I don't know if y'all can see all them trails, but the deer actually wear this. Oh boy, looky here, looky here, looky here, looky here. Scrape. That's good. Oh, 2 of them. There's another one right there. Another one right there. Oh, that one's live. What that means is Samantha's going to be hunting a live scrape in the morning. There's the creek bottom. These deer come out and they'll slide out of that cut over up there, slide right down the creek, and come out and munch on the clover. And they love it, just let me tell you. I've seen a bunch of deer down here, and we've got believe it, about, I got too many things in my hand. Man alive, what a scrape. Goodness gracious. Well, they must be definitely chasing. These scrapes are just, I mean, eat up. There's not a leaf in them, and they've all got fresh dirt. But black powder don't come in until tomorrow, so. But we got what I was gonna say, we got about a 450 pound bear, black bear on this camera a couple years ago, and I showed it to some folks that work for the state of North Carolina, and they said that's the biggest bear they've ever seen. It had to be at least 450 pounds. All right, so here's what we got. I'm gonna cut this off for just a minute. So let me show you. Right up there at the top of that hill, right over here is where we come in a while ago, and I pointed down to these pines and said I had a stand here. So you can see the food plot over there. There's a food plot right over there that we just come out of. So what I do is I walk right down the center of this hill, and then I've got a spot right here in the pines that's already pre-cut out. And as you can see, I can't even see the food plot from where I'm standing. And that's what you want. You want so much cover. If you see all this bushy stuff, all this. So here's the road, the little trail that I've already got cut and weed eated, right up to the back of the stand. Now I want you to look. I've got a food plot right there, and you can't even see it. I've got a food plot over there, and you can't see it. And I can literally, and I'm not exaggerating, I can literally get up in this stand and never even see the deer until I open the window. And I have been in this stand and had, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 deer in the food plot, sometimes in both food plots. And the deer's never seen me, never spooked, never blowed, nothing. And that's the way you want to set your stands up. You want to be about 85 yards off of that food plot and set up in a way where you can get in and get out, and the deer never see you. It's a wonderful way to set up a deer stand. So we're going to go down here and do the same thing I did on the other stand. So we're going to park right here for just a minute. All right, let's get out and I'll show you. My soul, look at all the tracks in this field. Just look at that. I mean, just completely, absolutely covered in tracks everywhere. Completely mowed down. I mean, look how this stuff's been in the ground for a month and a half, and it looks like you took a push mower over it. I mean, it literally looks like it's been mowed, and I have not mowed it. It's just where the deer has just been absolutely devouring it. I mean, there's just, you can see, there's tracks everywhere. All right, so that's the stand. And so most of the trails that the deers come out of on this stand is right there. I mean, you can see that trail just, I mean, that's big enough a bear might be coming through there. And then right here out of this corner, they love walking this bottom creek line and coming out the corner, or they'll come out right in here, right there. And so most of them come from that direction. And so if you look back, you see how far away that stand is, but the most important thing, you can't see anything on the bottom of that stand. I mean, I could get behind that stand and do a dance, and they would never know I was there if the wind's in my favor. And so that is a big thing to remember when you're setting your stands up. And then of course the other food plot is right over there, and it's set up the same identical way. If you get down, it's even better. I mean, there's enough grass in the field right there that would probably cover my entry point, but that's the way I've got the stand set up. This is the bottom, down here on the bottom, and it is absolutely beautiful down here. And of course, you got mountain views on the top, so I'm always cross between hunting that just for the views and then being down here on the bottom. But these food plots, I mean, they ain't that big. They're pretty decent size, I guess. It's probably about an acre, so maybe field here. But Austin, what do you think, buddy? You having fun?
You having fun? Yeah!
Yeah, all right, buddy. We're gonna go. Here we go. Now these deer, you will not catch deer walking around in open forest. At least in this county, you won't see that very much unless you're hunting a protected place. But these deer will walk through this tall grass all day long. I've come down here twice recently and jumped a big 8-pointer just bedded in the grass. So I wanted to show you one more thing before we keep going here. And I wanted to show you something I learned from, oh good night, I can't remember the guy's name. He runs Whitetail Habitat Solutions, I think, and I cannot for the life of me, my brain just went dead. But I learned this from him. So if you've noticed, I've got all this grass, super tall grass. So what I've done, I had the wildlife come in here twice since we've owned it. We bought it in 2019. And I've had the wildlife come in here twice and burn the property. And the reason I had them burn the property is because it had a lot of junk in it. And so I contacted the office up there, and they come down. They set it up as long as you've got a road that goes all the way around where you're going to burn, and they can access that way. You know, that's built-in control. And so obviously I've got a road that goes all the way around mine. So they come back and they burnt the back, I don't know, 18, 19 acres, something like that. And when they did, what we found happened was it killed out a lot of the non-native grasses. And it generated, I guess, I'm not sure how that process works, I'm not a biologist, but it generated a lot of native grasses, Indian grass and blue stem and stuff like that. And I mean, it is just thick. And I only mow it one time a year in January, and the rest of the year I let it grow up. The deer bed in it, the turkeys lay in it. I mean, a lot of the hens will have their babies in the tall grass and hide them, you know, from coyotes and predators. instead of being out in open woods. So it's been really, really good. And what I like about it is the deer will use it a lot. They love sunning up there on them banks, especially during the wintertime. And so the reason that I've got the grasses in between the food plots, again, I don't know why I cannot remember his name, but I think it's Whitetail Habitat Solutions. He had a video about when you have food plots, you don't want the deer in one food plot to see deer in another food plot. And the reason for that is, and I did not know this until I learned it, was does are more territorial than bucks are, which is pretty surprising because bucks are obviously territorial. They'll fight to the death. But if you have a doe that's territorial and she's in one food plot and she sees does in another food plot, she'll go down there and run them out. And by doing it this way, the deer can't see what's in that other plot. So if you, in other words, if you got a buck running does and he's running does in this in this bottom coming out of this cornfield right here, see that cornfield right there, if he's got does in there, and he's running does and he's wanting to check the fields, if he can't see that field, he's got to go to it to see if there's anything in it, if he happens to be upwind. So that's just another little trick I learned. I thought about it when I was coming through the grasses there. So I'll catch y'all back here in just a minute. We'll finish this up. All right, Austin, I'll be back in just a second. All right, so this is what I call the last minute stand. It's just right behind my house so I can walk to it. You can see the stand up there. Now this one obviously is a little closer than 80 some yards. I think it's like 40 yards, 50 yards, something like that. But like I said, beautiful little food plot. That's just regular grass right there. This is food plot. In the spring next year, we're going to be planting fruit trees all up in here. And of course, I'm going to get a persimmon tree so that I can do that. I've got this one camera. This is a pine thicket, and boy, do the deer love this. My soul. They come out of that bottom down there that I showed you where all the scrapes was, and they come up through this pine thicket. Or I've got deer coming from two different places right here. So that cut over down there, and then just on the other side right here is oaks. It's all oak trees right past them pine trees. It goes for 15-20 feet, and then it turns into all oak trees. And there's a monster sized bottom down there that the deer stay in. So if you look at this stand again, you see all the junk that I've piled up on the bottom of that stand. And so if a deer's down here, I left that one tree. If you notice that one tree, I took all the other trees out of here, but I've got that one tree dead center, but the food plot's over here. So I've got that set up that way, and my goodness, look at all the tracks in here. It is just unreal. And in case y'all were wondering, this is winter wheat and oats. And there's the stand with all the junk around it. You get down from a deer's perspective about right here. Again, it's a little closer than I care for, but just the way it's set up, that's the best I could do. But I can still get in that stand. Last year I got in that stand at 4:30, which is late. That's why I call it the last minute stand. And there were 4 deer already in the food plot. I can't remember how many more showed up. It was quite a few. But when I left, they were still in the food plot. And I just slipped out of the back of the stand and walked on. But The benefit of doing that is great because you don't spook your deer. And if you think about it, once you spook 2 or 3 does, turn this thing off for just a minute. All right, once you spook 2 or 3 does, they're going to stop hanging around, or they're only going to come in at dark. And most of the time, we do pretty good at hunting the right wind direction, because if they can't see you and they can't smell you, they don't know you're there. And that has helped my hunting so much. And most of you will probably notice I don't have corn put out. Now, I used to do that a lot. And, you know, when my daughter was younger, and we didn't really have a place where we could plant a food plot, so it was kind of, you know, that's just what I had to do. The thing with corn, if you're feeding with bait piles, the thing with corn that really messes it up is you have to go in and out so much. For example, several years ago when we were hunting another property, they was eating, and I'm not exaggerating, they was eating 100 pounds of corn in 2 days. But you're talking about, you know, 10, 12, 15 deer on a corn pile. And the problem is you're going to get a lot of does and a lot of little deer. And the reason for that is because the bucks know better. They're not coming around. Yeah, come on out here and sit down. We sit down in the woods with Daddy. You sit down in the woods with Daddy. You stay right there. I'm going to check this camera. There you go. Move this over just a little bit. There we go. There you go. So, a couple things in summary. If you can, try to plant food plots. There were places we've hunted in the past. If I could find a clearing, even if it was in the center of the woods, and it was only 15 by 20, I would try to plant a food plot. Back to the point of using corn, you have to go in and out so much to keep the corn fed that the deer, your scent's everywhere. And the benefit of having these food plots is, you know, I can just let it rest and just not even come back here. The deer's got plenty of food. It feeds them all winter long. It's good for the deer, turkeys. I seen a squirrel. I don't know what he was doing, but he was out there in a food plot the other day. And to me, it's better. It's better all the way around. Better for the animals, better nutrition. And plus, it allows you, if you've got a spot to put a food plot at, you can plan where to put your deer stand. And if you've got, you know, our property is only 22 acres, and we've got 4 stands. And I didn't want any more than that because I don't want to overpressure the deer. And, you know, and you can do that if you're not spooking deer all the time. You don't have to move locations, move stands. You don't have to do all that. So to me, the food plots are better. And then the next thing, if you can put a food plot in, the next thing to do is figure out where you want your stand, or you can actually figure that out first if you've got room to do that, and then plant your food plot accordingly. But for me, it was just I had spots that I knew I could put the food plot, and so I'd put them in first and then figure out where I wanted the stands. So then you want to try to set your stands up, like I said, 75, 80 yards. That way, more than likely the deer's not going to hear you walking from that far away. They're not going to see you. Set your stand up where you can either access it coming up the back of a hill and the deer's on the other side, they can't see, or you can brush it in the bottom. But just try to find a way where you're not spooking deer going to your stand. And for the most part, I don't have a problem with that, just because of the way my stuff is laid, the way I've got the stand set up intentionally for that. So that's a big thing. And then what was the other one I was going to mention? I done forgot it. But that I hope maybe that'll help some people out. I've talked to several people, and for example, this field we was just in right here, and this field is right behind our house, probably 50 yards this side of the pasture. And I think it was 16 deer in that little bitty food plot right there at one time. And so we had bucks, we had does, we had little ones. There was deer running everywhere. But it goes back to, if the deer can't see you, they can't hear you, that's a plus. But if they can't smell you, that's the biggest thing. And so when you set your stands up, even if you've got 5 or 10 acres, you can set that up right to where you can go in, go out, never spook the deer, and be able to hunt and see deer almost the entire season. And we see deer all the way through December. And they're just, it's a beautiful way to hunt. It's fun. You know you're going to see something. And there's a few coyotes back here. I've shot coyote one night. That was I wished I had a camera. That would have been something. I hit him on a dead run with a 17 HMR and rolled him. But we have a good time out here, and but I like to set it up to where the least amount of time that I can spend with my scent where I'm hunting is the best way to go. And so anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I had a lot of requests about people wanting to see more of the farm and where I deer hunt and stuff like that. So I throwed in a few deer hunting tips in there if you want to see them. So, and then maybe at the end of the video I'll put a picture of a deer Samantha killed, and I think it was 207 pound 6-pointer. And so there's some massive deer around here. That's big for our area. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the farm as much as I do. So I figured y'all would get a kick out of this. Me and Austin's done been out and put the cards for the deer cameras back up, and somebody's hungry. Let me get they know what time it is. They get fed every day about 3:30, and I think it's about 3 o'clock, and they all already making their way up here. There's some chicken. All right, come on, boys. Come on, boys. Austin, you want to hold this camera? Hold the phone. You want to hold it? Hold it like that. Oh, there, I'll get it. All right, here we go.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
There you go, boys. What are y'all waiting on?
See cow?
Yeah, you see the cows. Big old boys. This camera don't do these boys justice. But they about 1,000 pounds, be my guess.
Look, see cow?
Big old boys.
Look, see cow?
Yeah, you see the cow? There you go. Come on, Waddle. Get on up here.
Look, see cow? Look.
You're missing out. All right, Austin, let's go so that eat. All right. Here's the chicken coop. I made this myself. We walk right up in the back. Get the eggs right out of the back. Shut the door and never walk in the chicken coop. And then over here, I didn't want to use my well water up because them cows drink a lot of water in the summertime. And as you can see, I put a gutter on my lean-to, and then I went out and cut some pole pine.
Look, see
And
cow?
yeah, we seen the cows. And I cut some pole pine and then ran a 6-inch pipe to a 720 gallon water tank so it catches all that water. And we've only had to put water in it, I think, twice this year. Just a little bit, just to keep going. But that's the farm. That's the property. And I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. Thank you for tuning in. Talk to you later.